I need to tell you something about cheddar cheese that's gonna make you check every packet in your fridge right now. A lot of what you're buying and calling cheddar isn't actually cheddar at all. It's fake. It's an imitation. It's a cheese-flavored product that's been designed to look like cheddar, taste vaguely like cheddar, but costs a fraction of the price to make. And the supermarkets know this. The manufacturers know this. But they're banking on you not reading the fine print on the packaging. I spent the last 2 weeks speaking to cheese experts, dairy farmers, and supermarket employees. I compared labels, checked ingredients, and looked at production methods. And what I found genuinely shocked me. In this video, I'm gonna show you 7 brands that are selling fake cheddar in UK supermarkets right now. Some of these are budget brands you might expect, but some are premium brands that you absolutely wouldn't. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, what to avoid, and how to spot real cheddar from the fake stuff. Let's get into it. Number 7, Tesco Everyday Value Cheddar. Let's start with something obvious, but it needs to be said because millions of people buy this every week. Tesco Everyday Value Cheddar. It's £1.40 for 400 grams. Cheap as chips. Bright orange packaging. Says cheddar right on the front in big letters. Now, technically this is cheddar. It meets the bare minimum legal definition. But here's what a dairy farmer from Somerset told me that completely changed how I see this product. He said, that cheese is made from milk that's been ultra filtered and processed to remove as much fat as possible. Then they add vegetable fat back in because pure milk protein tastes absolutely terrible on its own. What you're eating is reconstituted milk protein with added fat and flavoring. It's engineered food. And when you look at the ingredients list carefully, he's absolutely right. It says vegetable fat right there in the ingredients. Real cheddar, proper cheddar, is made from milk, salt, rennet, and starter cultures. That's it. 4 ingredients maximum. Nothing else is needed. But this Tesco Value Cheddar, it's got milk, vegetable fat, salt, preservatives, color, and stabilizers. That's not traditional cheddar. That's a processed cheese product designed to be cheap. The farmer told me, we call this stuff plastic cheddar in the industry. It's designed to be cheap and shelf stable, not to taste good. It melts weird because of the vegetable fat. It has a rubbery texture that real cheddar never has. And it's miles away from what cheddar is supposed to be. He showed me a piece of his farm cheddar versus a piece of Tesco Value. His cheddar crumbled naturally. The Tesco stuff bent like rubber. That's not how real cheese behaves. Now, is it unsafe? No. Is it legal to sell? Yes. But is it real cheddar in any meaningful sense? Absolutely not. For an extra pound, you can get proper cheddar from Aldi that's made with just milk, salt, and rennet. Save your money elsewhere if you need to, but don't compromise on cheese quality. Number 6, Cathedral City Lighter. Now, this one surprised me because Cathedral City is supposed to be a trusted brand, a British brand, the stuff your mom and your nan buy without thinking twice. Cathedral City Lighter. It's marketed as a healthier option, 30% less fat than regular cheddar, £2.80 for 350 grams. Sounds great, right? All the cheddar taste, less fat, better for your waistline, healthier choice. Wrong, completely wrong. Because to make lighter cheddar, they have to replace that fat with something. And what they replace it with isn't milk or anything natural. A food technologist I spoke to explained it like this. When you remove fat from cheese, you remove flavor and texture. Fat carries flavor. Fat creates texture, so they have to add back modified starch, thickeners, and extra salt to compensate for what they've taken out. You're not eating cheddar anymore. You're eating a cheese-like product. And when you check the label carefully, he's absolutely right. Cathedral City Lighter contains modified starch. Real cheddar never contains starch. Ever. Starch doesn't belong in cheese. He told me. The whole concept of lighter, hard cheese is fundamentally ridiculous. Cheddar is supposed to be high in fat. That's what makes it cheddar. That's what makes it taste good. If you want less fat in your diet, eat less cheese. Don't eat fake cheese full of starch and pretend it's healthy. And here's the kicker that really annoyed me. That modified starch, it makes the cheese behave weird when you cook it. It doesn't melt properly like real cheddar. It goes stringy and separates into an oily mess. Try making a cheese toasty with Cathedral City Lighter and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's disgusting. The food technologist said, I tested this in my kitchen, regular. Cathedral City melts beautifully. The lighter version separates and goes grainy. That's the starch. That's what starch does to cheese when you heat it. If you want to reduce fat in your diet, just eat smaller portions of real cheddar. Don't fall for this lighter nonsense that's full of additives and tastes worse. Number 5. Sainsbury's Basics. British grated cheddar, Sainsbury's Basics British grated cheddar, 1 pound for 200 grams. Pre-grated, ready to use, convenient for pasta and pizzas. But here's what a supermarket cheese buyer told me about pre-grated cheese that made me stop buying it entirely. She said, pre-grated cheese is almost always significantly lower quality than block cheese, even from the exact same brand, because once cheese is grated, you can't see the quality anymore. You can't see if it's dry, crumbly, discolored, or damaged. And there's something else that's even worse. That Sainsbury's Basics grated cheddar, check the ingredients carefully. Contains an anti-caking agent, specifically potato starch. Real cheddar doesn't need an anti-caking agent because you grate it fresh yourself. The only reason to add potato starch is to stop pre-grated cheese from clumping together in the bag during storage and transport. But that starch absorbs moisture from the cheese, which means the cheese dries out faster, which means it tastes worse, which means you're paying for starch mixed with dried out cheese that's past its best. The buyer told me, I've seen the production process for this stuff. I've been to the factories. They use the cheese that's too damaged or broken to sell as blocks. The bits that broke during cutting, the pieces that are slightly off color, the blocks that got dropped or mishandled. All of it gets grated up and sold as Basics range with starch to hide the problems. She said, just buy a block of real cheddar and grate it yourself. It takes 30 seconds with a box grater. You'll get better cheese for less money, and you won't be eating potato starch that has no business being in cheese. And here's the thing that made me laugh. A block of Sainsbury's regular cheddar is 2 pounds 50 for 500 grams. That works out to 1 pound for 200 grams. The exact same price as the grated Basics range. But you're getting real cheese without the starch, and you can see the quality before you buy it. Number 4, Asda Extra Special Vintage Reserve Cheddar. Now we're getting into the ones that really annoyed me because these are supposed to be premium products. These are the ones people buy for special occasions. Asda Extra Special Vintage Reserve Cheddar. 4 pounds for 400 grams. Fancy black packaging with gold lettering. Says aged for extra flavor and vintage reserve on the label. Looks expensive and premium. It's in the premium section of the cheese aisle. You'd naturally assume it's high quality, properly aged, and worth the money. But a cheese specialist who's worked with traditional cheddar makers for 20 years told me something that made me put this back on the shelf immediately. He said, that cheese isn't vintage. It's not properly aged in any traditional sense. They accelerate the aging process using enzymes and higher temperatures. Real vintage cheddar is aged for at least 18 months at cool, consistent temperatures in proper aging rooms. This stuff is maybe 6 months old at most, and it's been heat treated to speed things up. And when you dig into how it's actually made, it gets much worse. Real vintage cheddar develops its flavor slowly over time through natural processes. The proteins break down naturally through bacterial action. The texture becomes crumbly and crystalline. The flavor becomes sharp, complex, and nutty with depth. But Asda's Vintage Reserve uses added enzymes to artificially speed up that process. It's a shortcut. It's cheese making for impatient manufacturers, and it creates a harsh, almost bitter flavor instead of the complex, nutty, satisfying taste of real vintage cheddar. The specialist told me, I can always tell enzyme accelerated cheddar within 2 seconds of tasting it. It has this artificial sharpness that catches in your throat. It's one-dimensional. Real vintage cheddar is smooth on the palate, even when it's strong. It has layers of flavor. This stuff just tastes harsh. And here's the real problem that should make you angry. You're paying premium prices, 4 pounds for 400 grams, for cheese that's been artificially aged using industrial shortcuts. You could get real vintage cheddar from a proper cheesemonger, aged naturally for 2 years, for the same price or even less. He said, Asda Extra Special is marketing, not quality. The black packaging makes you think you're getting something premium and special, but you're not. You're getting 6-month-old cheddar that's been enzyme treated to taste older than it is. Number 3, Morrison Savers Mature Cheddar. Morrison Savers Mature Cheddar, 1 pound 30 for 400 grams. On the surface, it seems like genuinely good value. Mature cheddar for just over £1. That's remarkably cheap compared to other mature cheddars. But here's what a dairy industry insider who's worked in cheese procurement for 15 years told me that you absolutely need to know. She said that cheese is imported from Ireland as a base product, slightly processed and packaged in the UK, and then sold as British cheddar. They're legally allowed to do that because the final packaging happens in Britain, but the actual cheese? Made in Ireland using milk from multiple European countries, wherever milk is cheapest that particular month. And when you look at the fine print on the label, she's absolutely right. It says packed in the UK, but it very deliberately doesn't say where it's made or where the milk comes from. Real British cheddar uses British milk from British farms, preferably from a specific region. That's what traditional cheddar is supposed to be. That's the whole point of cheddar. But this Morrison savors stuff. The milk could be from Poland, Lithuania, Germany, or wherever milk is cheapest in the EU that particular month. It's imported as a base cheese product, slightly processed in the UK to meet labeling requirements, and sold as cheddar to unsuspecting British shoppers. The insider told me, "I've worked in cheese procurement for 15 years. I've seen the supply chain from every angle. Budget supermarket cheddar often uses the cheapest milk from wherever they can source it. The quality is inconsistent because the supply changes constantly depending on market prices." She said, "One month you might get decent cheese because they sourced from a good Irish dairy. The next month it tastes completely different because it came from a cheaper supplier in Eastern Europe." That's not how real cheddar works. Real cheddar is consistent because it comes from the same place using the same methods. And there's another significant issue she mentioned. That cheese is often stored for months in warehouses before it's actually sold. Real mature cheddar is aged properly and then sold relatively quickly while it's still in peak condition. But budget cheddar sits in warehouses, wrapped in plastic, slowly deteriorating in quality. She told me, "By the time you buy it and get it home, that cheese could be 6 months past its optimal eating window. It's still safe because of the preservatives, but it's not good. It's dry, crumbly in a bad way, and the flavor is flat." For just 50 pence more, you can get Morrison's regular cheddar that's actually made in Britain from British milk with proper traceability. Don't save 50 pence on fake imported cheddar that tastes inconsistent. Before I reveal the top 2 worst offenders, I need you to do something important. Subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already. I make videos like this every single week, exposing fake products, comparing brands, checking ingredients, and saving you money. The supermarkets don't want you to know this information. The big multinational brands certainly don't want you researching what's actually in their products. Drop a comment below as well. Tell me what cheese you've been buying and whether you're going to change your shopping habits after watching this video. I read every single comment, and I often get ideas for future videos from what you tell me, right? Let's continue, because the next 2 are absolutely shocking and will probably make you angry. Number 2, Pilgrim's Choice Mature Cheddar. Pilgrim's Choice. You've definitely seen it everywhere. It's in every single supermarket in the country. Big established brand, professional packaging, £3 for 400 grams. They market themselves as traditional British cheddar. The packaging has rolling green hills and pastoral imagery. Everything about the branding screams authentic British farm cheese made the traditional way. Here's the truth, according to a former employee of the company that manufactures it. He told me, "Pilgrim's Choice isn't made by pilgrims or small traditional farms. It's not made using traditional methods. It's made in massive industrial facilities using block cheese production methods at enormous scale." Block cheese, for those who don't know, is when they make absolutely enormous blocks of cheddar. We're talking 50 to 80 kilograms or more in a single block, and then cut them down into consumer-sized pieces using industrial equipment. The problem? That industrial process creates significant heat from friction, and heat affects cheese quality dramatically. It changes the protein structure. It affects how the cheese ages. It changes the texture. Real farmhouse cheddar is made in smaller batches of maybe 10 to 15 kilograms, pressed gently by hand or with traditional presses, and aged carefully in proper aging rooms with consistent temperature and humidity. Pilgrim's Choice is made at an industrial scale, cut with heated wires to portion it, and packaged immediately for distribution. The former employee said, "I worked in that factory for 3 years. The cheese is made fast and cheap. It's all about volume and profit margins. Quality is second secondary to efficiency. We were constantly being pushed to increase production speed. And here's what really annoyed me when I researched this. Pilgrim's Choice is owned by Ornua, which is an Irish dairy cooperative, but they market it as quintessentially British cheddar with all that pastoral imagery. He told me the milk isn't even all from Britain. They import milk products from Ireland and other EU countries when British milk prices are too high. Then they process it in the UK and call it British cheddar because of packaging loopholes. I actually contacted the company to verify this, and while they wouldn't confirm exact sourcing details for commercial reasons, they did admit they use British and Irish milk depending on availability and market conditions. So you're paying £3 for 400 grams of industrially produced cheese that's being marketed as traditional British farmhouse cheddar, when it's actually made by an Irish company using whatever milk is cheapest that particular month. You can get Wyke Farms cheddar for the exact same price. Wyke Farms is an actual British farm in Somerset. They use milk from their own cows. That's real, traceable, authentic cheddar made the proper way. Number 1, Dairy Lee cheddar slices, and here we are. Number 1, the absolute worst offender, the product that made me genuinely angry when I looked into it properly. Dairy Lee cheddar slices, £2.20 for 200 grams. 8 individually wrapped slices, bright artificial yellow color, says cheddar right there on the front of the packet in big letters. Except it's not cheddar, not even remotely close to being cheddar. I spoke to a food standards expert who's worked in dairy regulation for 12 years, and he explained exactly what this product actually is, and it's genuinely shocking. He said, Dairy Lee cheddar slices are processed cheese product. They're made from some cheddar, yes, but also from emulsifying salts, milk powder, preservatives, and artificial coloring. The actual real cheddar content is less than 60% of the total product. Less than 60% is actual cheddar. That means more than 40% of what you're eating and paying for isn't cheddar at all. And when you look at the ingredients list properly, it's absolutely horrifying. Cheddar cheese, water, milk proteins, emulsifying salts, citric acid, sorbic acid, beta-carotene coloring, and more chemicals. Real cheddar has exactly 4 ingredients: milk, salt, rennet, and bacterial cultures. This has 12 different ingredients, including multiple chemicals. The expert told me this is technically legal because they say cheddar slices, not cheddar cheese slices. It's a deliberate loophole in food labeling regulations. They're strongly implying it's cheddar without actually making that legal claim. It's clever but dishonest marketing. And here's the part that really makes me angry. They specifically market this product to parents as a convenient, healthy option for kids' lunchboxes. Protein-rich, calcium-rich cheese for growing children who need proper nutrition. But your kids aren't eating real cheese. They're eating processed cheese product with emulsifying salts and chemical preservatives. He said, those emulsifying salts are what make the processed cheese melt smoothly and stay stable at room temperature for months. But they also fundamentally change the nutritional profile. Real cheddar is a naturally fermented product with beneficial bacteria. This stuff, it's been so heavily processed and chemically altered that there's nothing natural left in it. And get this, Dairy Lee cheddar slices cost £11 per kilogram when you calculate it out. You can buy real, proper mature cheddar from Tesco for £6 per kilogram. You're paying almost double the price for a fake processed cheese product instead of real cheese. The expert told me, I would never feed this to my kids. Never. If you want convenient cheese slices for their lunchboxes, buy a block of real cheddar, slice it yourself with a cheese slicer, and wrap individual slices in greaseproof paper. It takes 2 minutes on a Sunday evening. So what should you buy instead? How do you spot real cheddar? Real cheddar is actually very easy to spot once you know what to look for. Check the ingredients list carefully. If it says anything other than milk, salt, rennet, and bacterial cultures, it's not real traditional cheddar. Avoid anything with vegetable fat, modified starch, anti-caking agents, or emulsifying salts. Avoid anything that says cheese product or just cheese slices instead of cheese. Always buy block cheddar, not pre-grated. Buy from British farms when possible. Look for brands like Wyke Farms, Barber's, Keen's, or Davidstow. These are real cheddar makers who do it properly. If you're on a tight budget, Aldi's specially selected mature cheddar is excellent quality for £2.50. Lidl creamy cheddar is also genuinely good. Support your local cheesemonger if you have one nearby. Yes, it costs a bit more, but you're getting real, properly aged cheddar made by people who actually care about cheese quality. Right, that's it. 7 fake cheddar brands you absolutely need to avoid. What cheese have you been buying? Are you gonna change after watching this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Share this video with your family and friends. People deserve to know what they're actually eating when they think they're buying cheddar. Subscribe if you haven't already, because next week I'm doing another interesting deep dive, and you'll definitely want to see that one. I'll see you in the next video.